lush vegetation and the odd talking animal. Apichatpong Weerasethakul creates cinematic worlds, defying convention and redefining what film can do. Uncle Boonmee, who can recall his past lives, won the Palme d'Or here in Cannes in 2010. He's back in competition with the film Memoria, starring Tilda Swinton. We caught up with him at the Institute for Contemporary Art in Villeurbanne, where his work's on show, an exhibition named Periphery of the Night. Apichatpong Weerasethakul, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, as a filmmaker, this is not the first time you've had work exhibited in a gallery. FACT Liverpool and BFI in London also dedicated exhibitions to your work. But we don't normally associate the movie format with contemporary art. So tell us why your work is comfortable in a gallery setting.
I try not to differentiate them because for me, they are same expression. But I guess there are certain kind of works that kind of work in the setting where the audience can participate physically, in the distance, and also in terms of exploring in this kind of space in different room and encounter different illuminations. Yeah.
ไม่ได้เป็นของใครแม้แต่ตัวของผมเอง
Now, as well as this exhibition, Periphery of the Night in Lyon, you're also presenting a film, Memoria, at this year's Cannes Film Festival. I believe that film also makes reference to the night time's important. Can you tell us a bit more about that story?
Well, the story is quite personal because it started from this symptom that I had, which is like a loud bang that happened in my head. Just me, nobody can hear it. So I started to build the story about this individual who traveled in this foreign landscape, and while hearing this bang, that made her unable to sleep. So it became kind of insomnia. And for me, there's something about night that really captivating, when you don't see things clearly and your mind sometimes takes over. It's almost like a dream, in a dream state.
It's like a rumble from the core of the earth. Bang! And then it shrinks.
Memoria was filmed in Colombia, which is a departure from Thai language filmmaking for you and from your familiar terrain. How did you make that decision, and how did you find the experience?
I want to get away from the comfort zone in Thailand. That's one reason, and another reason is it's getting harder for me, I think, to work in Thailand at the moment because of the political situation. Because I feel like if I make a film there, I need to collide head on with the political issue. So I say, okay, let's take a break and let's try something that challenged myself for a long time, which is to go out and to immerse myself like a child learning a new language. And how do you present this world that you don't belong?
And regarding the political situation in Thailand, it has been a turbulent few years. Beyond yourself as a filmmaker, how do you see the situation in terms of freedom of expression and civil liberties?
Yeah, we still have a long way to go about that front because of military take over the country and now kind of legitimate itself in the parliament, and also in the process silencing opposition, silencing critics. But we've witnessed from the past year with the pandemic that people, especially young people, couldn't stand anymore. And there's a rise of discontent and of voices of this youth. And it's the first time in many years that I have hope about the future of the country.
Tilda Swinton plays a major role in the film Memoria, and I wanted to ask you about the casting process of that. Was she someone that you'd long wanted to work with?
Yes, I wrote Memoria with her in mind. It's something that we've known each other for a long time, and Memoria is a result of this kind of wanting to work together and to immerse ourselves in and open our senses, in Colombia.
This is probably 6,000 years old.
Oh.
Yes. Drilled into her head to release bad spirits.
Now, another opportunity to see your work at the Cannes Film Festival is the screening of the film The Year of the Everlasting Storm. That's an ensemble piece that reflects on the pandemic, this extraordinary year that we've all been through. I wondered what was the major point you wanted to make in your contribution.
For me, I shot this short film in my bedroom. Something that I want to remember from that time was this curiosity of life, the life around me, that without the pandemic, I wouldn't care about these little insects or mosquito, bees, geckos, and the film celebrates that, other lives around us.
Now, speaking of Cannes, you won the Un Certain Regard Prize in 2002, then the Jury Prize, and of course the Palme d'Or in 2010. I'm sure the festival's quite important for you personally and professionally. How do you sum up your feelings about it?
It's a festival that very respectful to the medium, and also, the protocol and everything. Compared to how we just be in the dirt, shooting film in Thailand or Colombia, and this is like a celebration where people dress up. At first I didn't understand, but then, this is fun. We are in this together, and to honor cinema.
Now, looking back at your career, your work has sometimes been labelled a unique exponent of queer cinema. Tropical Malady, for example, explores the nature of desire in a very subtle way. But I wanted to ask, is that label something that you identify with, and what sort of love stories do you want to tell?
For me, the word queer means anything can happen, anything is possible. And not only Tropical Malady, not only about relationship between whatever sex you are, but also about how you approach life. You just open it, you just make things happen, and also apply to cinema, how you tell stories. It can be anything, you're free to break it, and there's no rule.
Now, in 2007, Thai authorities deemed your film Syndromes and a Century inappropriate for domestic release. They wanted you to cut certain scenes. What was it that they were so concerned about? What was controversial about that film?
Well, it deals with medical communities, doctors, because my parents were doctors, so I want to remember or interpret that, and also deal with the religion, the Buddhist monk, So for me, I just try to recreate situation that I saw, I witnessed, the monk playing musical instrument or playing with the toys, and doctors sometimes taking a break, drinking sneakily. Those things I think is realism, but for me the censorship allowed me to understand the working mechanism of Thai authority. So it actually drove me to really try to create this awareness that, hey, that we shouldn't hide anything. Cinema and art should enlighten us, to open our eyes to what's going on.
How do you weigh up that decision when it comes to compromising the integrity of your film or compromising its reach?
In the end, I agree to cut that film, but I insert black into those, sometimes as long as, 3-5 minutes, just darkness. And I think silence, it's not my film, but it's a statement to say this is what happened, when you're being blindfolded. And I think it's really effective statement for the public at that time.
Now, I believe that censorship board was made up of people from the Ministry of Culture, also some figures from the police, and they said at the time they were acting in the interest of the population. There's a quote that says, "Nobody goes to see films by Apichatpong. Thai people want to see comedy." And this is a kind of comment on high and low culture, I suppose. How do you see that sort of statement? Do you agree?
No, and it's very hurtful, and it's sad when you realize that people in charge who are supposed to work for you just kind of have this attitude of seeing people in categories. It still saddens me, because our government still operate like that. Memoria is in Cannes, there's nothing, no feedback. My producer have to call and see if there's any support, and we still have no feedback until now.
Now, after a year of many of us been locked down, we've sort of lost the habit of going to cinema, seeing a film collectively. But I wonder what your opinion is on that collective experience. What does cinema give us that other things can't?
It's a dream, it's a space of almost like a simulation of dream when you go in and you are losing your sense of body and you're just absorbed by this light and narrative with others, and so it's like a collective dream room, and that's very special that you cannot replace by your laptop. Hopefully, cinema will continue on, in this form.
Apichatpong, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.